Welcome to the Block of the Month bonus video, part 2. In the part 1 video, we picked out our fabrics for the sashing, inner border, outer border, and the dark accent. We will be using these leftover fabrics and strips from part 1 to make the pieces we need for part 2. A downloadable version of this pattern can be found in the Files section of our Facebook group called The Quilted Forest Friends, or you can screenshot it to print it at home, or push pause and take notes. We will show the pattern again at the end of the video. Now it's time to cut our sashing pieces. Cut 2 rectangles 1.5 inches by 10.5 inches. Cut 2 rectangles 2.5 inches by 12.5 inches. Cut 1 rectangle 4.5 inches by 12.5 inches. Cut 1 rectangle 2.5 inches by 24.5 inches. Cut 2 rectangles 2.5 inches by 32.5 inches. And finally, cut 2 rectangles 4.5 inches by 32.5 inches. Piece using 1/4 inch seam allowances, and when you press in between adding each of the pieces together, you're going to press towards the sashing fabric. Piece the 1.5 inch by 10.5 inch rectangles between the 3 blocks from October. The 4.5 by 12.5 inch rectangle goes between the 2 blocks from July, with the 2.5 inch by 12.5 inch rectangles on opposite ends. The 2.5 inch by 24.5 inch rectangle goes between the blocks from February and September. The 2.5 inch by 32.5 inch rectangles go between these 3 units. The 4.5 inch by 32.5 inch rectangles go on the opposite sides. And here's my version with the bright colors on the black background, and the version that I'm making in red, white, and blue. Now it's time to get to work on the side borders. From the inner border fabric, cut 1 strip 6.5 inches by 10 inches, 1 strip 4.5 inches by width of fabric, and 2 strips 2.5 inches by the width of fabric. The outer border fabric, cut 1 strip 6.5 inches by 10 inches, 2 strips that are 4.5 inches by the width of fabric, and 1 strip that is 2.5 inches by the width of fabric. From the dark accent fabric, cut 3 strips that are 2.5 inches by the width of fabric and 2 rectangles that are 2.5 inches by 10 inches. Now it's time to piece with 1/4 inch seam allowances. Piece a dark accent 2.5 inch by 10 inch rectangle to the 6.5 inch by 10 inch inner border rectangle. Piece the dark 2.5 inch strip between a 4.5 inch inner border strip and a 2.5 inch outer border strip. If you're enjoying our Block of the Month videos, we encourage you to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Piece a dark accent strip between a 2.5 inch inner border strip and the 4.5 inch outer border strip. You will make 2 of this strip set. Piece the dark accent 2.5 inch by 10 inch rectangle to the 6.5 inch by 10 inch outer border rectangle. Now it's time to press all the strip sets. You will always be pressing towards the dark accent fabric. On these longer sections that have 3 different fabrics, I like to start from the back side first, press towards the dark, and then at the end I will flip it over to the front side to press it again from the front, making sure that I haven't put any creases in it. Once all of the pressing is done, it's time to head to the cutting mat to do some subcuts. All of these strip sets will get cut into sections that are 2.5 inches wide. When I have a lot of cuts to make like this, I will usually stack my fabrics so I don't have to make as many cuts, and you can do as many layers as you're comfortable. I think I have 4 layers here. I like to use my square ruler. I will start with a 12.5 inch cut, then I will go down to the 10 inch cut, the 7.5 inch cut, the 5 inch cut, and then the 2.5 inch cut. I'm moving the fabric less, I move the ruler more, and I get more accurate cuts. Make sure to cut all the leftover strip sets from part 1 of the Sashing and Borders video. You'll need all those pieces for piecing the outer border. Once all the strip sets have been cut, piece the sets of 2 into sets of 4, matching the diagrams in the pattern. Once you're done with that, it's time to organize your pieces into piles so that you have all the same piece in a pile. Sewing the border will be a lot easier if you keep things organized. Each of these piles has a different amount, but all you have to do is follow the diagram when you're sewing them together. Start on one end and just keep adding pieces until you've got your border made. This time when I was sewing mine together, instead of just working on 2 at a time, I actually started on both ends and worked towards the middle so I could sew on 4 different pieces at a time before I had to take them off the machine and add the new piece. I figured that out about 3 or 4 seams in, so then I caught up from the other side and kept going until the end. You could also just do sets of 2 all the way across, just keeping track on the pattern, marking off the ones that you've sewn. Do whatever you think is best to help you keep track of what goes where. If you wanted to, you could press as you go to make it lay flatter as you're sewing it through the machine. I just waited till the end so I could press all the seams at once. I just pressed all my seams in one direction. You could start from the middle and work out to either end, or you could press all your seams open. Do whatever your preference is. Here are the finished borders for the sides of the Block the Month quilt. I also have my red, white, and blue version finished, and my version that has the black background with the bright colors. I think they all turned out looking awesome. Hopefully by working some of these border pieces out ahead of time, not waiting till the end of the year to do all of the borders, hopefully that will help you get it put together relatively quickly when you get the last block made. We hope you remembered to hit the like button and you'll leave us a comment. Hopefully you can share with a quilting friend and subscribe. That's the most important. We'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching and happy quilting!